Best Actor in a Drama. Again, 5 nominees. The poll is up on at RDC Home and Home. DK Metcalf, Deshaun Watson, Derrick Henry, Kirk Cousins, and we only are allowed 4 on Twitter. We will discuss number 5. That, of course, is Taysom Hill, who put up an unbelievable, historic performance. The guy is incredibly versatile. So let's get right into it. Best actor. First up is DK Metcalf, the rookie wide receiver for the Seattle Seahawks. 7 catches, 160 yards, and a touchdown. This guy was the 64th player drafted in the NFL draft. Incredible when you can see the skills. You remember the shirtless picture that emerged sometime around the draft showing what a physical freak this guy is. Question: how did every team in the NFL, Ross, you talk a lot about the complicated quarterback evaluation. How did every team in the NFL, including the Seahawks, pass on DK Metcalf? And should the New England Patriots be off the hook for drafting N'Keal Harry and not just passing on Metcalf, but guys like Terry McLaurin and A.J. Brown? Even Hollywood Brown looks at this point better than N'Keal Harry. What about DK Metcalf and the performance?
Well, you know what's crazy about DK Metcalf too, Dave, is number one, he was drafted 7 spots after J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, who did not do very much for the Eagles. I mean, DK Metcalf did more for the Seahawks yesterday than Arcega-Whiteside did for the Eagles all year. And then number 2, if you remember, there was so much pre-draft hype about DK Metcalf. The draft analysts loved him. The media loved him. The teams didn't. Teams said he couldn't really run very many routes, didn't have very good lateral agility. Well, you know what never goes out of style? Being bigger and faster than everybody else on the field when you're playing football. That would have been nice. I had the bigger part down sometimes, never the faster part, but it's nice. It really is. DK Metcalf is a total monster. They deserve a lot of credit, by the way, for the deep pass to him for a touchdown. And how about Brian Schottenheimer, who nobody ever says a positive word about? For some reason, we've all decided we hate him. How about him having the stones on 3rd and 10 late in the game to call that deep post to Metcalf and for Russell Wilson to throw it? Metcalf's a phenomenon. And look, they don't win nearly as many games without him. He's been a big difference maker. I don't think they win that game yesterday without him. So he's a good quality candidate. I can tell you, by the way, Dave, we already have a lot of votes. 58% Derrick Henry, 15% Deshaun Watson, 19% DK Metcalf, and 9% Kirk Cousins, because as we know, social media does not like Kirk Cousins, so he's not going to win a vote like this.
Yeah, poor Kirk Cousins. You like that? Kirk Cousins in the locker room after the huge win. You like that? To his teammates. Of course, that is repeating his famous mantra from Washington in a post-game win, and the team ate it up. They loved it. Kirk Cousins cannot win a big game. That's been the knock on Cousins his entire career, and he was, as advertised, outstanding yesterday in the huge win. But the throw to Adam Thielen was the best throw of Kirk Cousins' career. He laid it in there perfectly, brilliantly. Yes, a nice catch over the shoulder by Adam Thielen. I can't imagine Kirk Cousins will ever make a better throw than he did to Thielen. We will continue to debate what happened on the game-winning pass to Rudolph. Yes, it did look like pass interference. That should not take away from Kirk Cousins' performance. Now, the caveat, obviously, with Cousins is none of that happens without the play of Dalvin Cook. The running back had 130 total yards and 2 touchdowns. And Kirk Cousins' game works off of the play action. It works because of Dalvin Cook. He played fantastic. He is our next best actor nominee. Can we officially shed, and I don't know that you ever bought the label, Ross, but can we officially shed the he can't win a big game label?
Yes, we can. I didn't ever buy into it. And Dave, This is one of my guilty pleasures when it comes to professional sports or any sports like that. I love when people that have these long held narratives, these crutches that they lean so heavily on, that we are able to say, you know what? You can't say that anymore. It's why I wanted Marvin Lewis and the Bengals to and Andy Dalton to win a playoff game. It's why I want the Buffalo Bills to win a playoff game. I don't want people to always just be able to lean on these crutches without actually having any sort of original, interesting analysis. I am thrilled not only that the Vikings won for Kirk Cousins, but that he made the clutch play to throw that. It was incredible.
First two Best Actor nominees, of course, are still playing. DK Metcalf and the Seahawks go to Green Bay Sunday night to take on the 13-3 Packers. That should be a beauty. And Kirk Cousins, you like that, headed to San Francisco Saturday. That's the 4:30 game in San Fran against Jimmy G. The number 3 nominee in the Best Actor category, he is done for the postseason. He is on the other side of the Kirk Cousins game. He's Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill, not even the backup quarterback for Drew Brees, was the entire reason the Saints were in this football game. If you didn't see it, it's mind-boggling, the stats. He threw a 50-yard completion, longest in the game. He ran for 50 yards and caught a 20-yard touchdown. And Taysom Hill also threw one hell of a lead block on an Alvin Kamara touchdown. Taysom Hill, in my estimation, ought to start next year as a quarterback, not as a safety, not as a slash, not as a running back. Yes, he may not be an accurate passer yet. That's what we said about Lamar Jackson. Do you think this is a capable starting quarterback in the NFL, and will he get a shot? He is a free agent.
I think Dave, you make a compelling case. The problem, I think, for him is there's a lot of options at quarterback this offseason. Whether it's Phillip Rivers or Tom Brady or Teddy Bridgewater or Ryan Tannehill or Jameis Winston, there's a lot of dudes out there. Forget even the draft. We presume Tua Tagovailoa. We'll find out a little bit later today, as well as, of course, Joe Burrow. So you got to think about how many openings there are and how many get filled. I like Taysom Hill going somewhere where he is sort of the backup option, if you will, Dave, like behind a Mitch Trubisky in Chicago or a Jameis Winston in Tampa, somewhere like that, where, okay, they're bringing back their starter, but the guy's not exactly on solid footing. And if he doesn't play well early, the heck with it. They're going to put Taysom Hill in there. I do think you'd have to, though, really decide to go John Harbaugh, to go Greg Roman, and to design the offense around Taysom Hill and what he does well. You'd have to go all in like the Ravens have, and maybe somebody will.
I hope they do. You bring up an interesting point. Now, the problem with having a Taysom Hill guy is your backup is the fans love this guy. It's like having Tebow as a backup, that the noise, the applause, the media, as soon as you have one bad game, the calls are going to be deafening. Maybe more Trubisky than perhaps Jameis Winston, but I don't know. I think the guy was the most talented football player on the field yesterday, and Drew Brees will be the Saints quarterback, but felt like certainly the end is near. Best Actor now continues, and we've got a couple more nominees. We put the poll at RDC, home and home. Want your insights, want your opinion on who gave the best performance on Wildcard Weekend. My vote, and most of your votes, is Derrick Henry. The Titans running back was a beast over the weekend. He is why Tom Brady, for now, could be done with New England. And what shocks me about the performance by Henry, Ross, 182 yards and a touchdown on his 26th birthday, is it's like a pitcher telling the batter, we're going to throw a fastball, dude. We're going to throw a fastball every freaking time. And you know what? You're not going to hit it because you can't hit my fastball. Is he your best actor from the wild card weekend?
No, he's not. No, I mean, I think Derrick Henry was impressive. I think Derrick
Wow.
Henry deserves a lot of credit. I also think his offensive line kicked some serious ass in that game, and they're not getting nearly enough love. Go back and watch that game and see how many times Derrick Henry was getting into the secondary before he was even touched. See how many, look, he broke some tackles. I'll give him some credit for that, but his offensive line dominated. He got into the second and third levels at times without even being touched. He'd run for 9 yards and then get tackled. He'd be like, oh, Derrick Henry, Derrick Henry. Yeah, bro, did you see that he got tackled by the first guy on that play? What are you talking about? Let's give some love to Taylor Lewan, to Roger Saffold, to Ben Jones, to Nate Davis, to Jack Conklin. Maybe they can get nominated for best performance from Wildcard Weekend. Maybe tomorrow we'll do best supporting actors and it'll be the Titans O-line because they kick some serious ass. So no, Derrick Henry doesn't get my vote. I will say this though, Dave.
Yeah.
He is the most physically impressive running back I've ever seen in my life, and maybe football player, period. In terms of like, I met him twice, and I mean, God made a football player. I mean, it is crazy. He is a good 6'3", 250 pounds that look like we're 2,000 years ago in ancient Rome, and they're hitting the sculpture of Julius Caesar or one of the Caesar. I mean, he
Yeah.
is a Greek god.
He is a freak of nature. He's going to make Najee Harris some money. Clearly, he's a talented guy, not quite Derrick Henry. I'm talking about the current Alabama running back who looks like the next big beast. I think he is the most valuable guy at the running back position. I'm not saying he's a better player than Christian McCaffrey or Saquon Barkley or Zeke Elliott, but I think he's clearly the most valuable guy, and he's a free agent. 73% of the Titans' offense. Ryan Tannehill was 8 of 15, 72 yards, one touchdown, one interception. That's the fewest yards by starting quarterback in a wild card win since Joe Flacco, 34 yards, 2009, beating who? The New England Patriots. So that performance showed how valuable he is, how they have to sign him, and probably hand Ryan Tannehill the franchise tag. I love your idea about best supporting actor. That could be a Tuesday conversation. One last nominee in the best actor category, and that, of course, is Deshaun Watson, the Houston Texans quarterback. The incredible come from behind win over the Buffalo Bills, down 16-zip midway through the third. Deshaun Watson put the team on his shoulders, a couple of superhuman efforts. I think the escape by Deshaun was every bit as good as Eli Manning's in the Super Bowl against the Patriots. Certainly would make for an interesting head-to-head if you look at the two pieces of video side by side. He was hammered. 20 of 25, 247. The run for the two-point conversion was superhuman. Everything he did defied logic. But there's the 7 sacks, Ross. The upside is endless for Deshaun Watson. It's right there with Patrick Mahomes. Can he cut out the downside? Can he start getting rid of the football, cutting back those sacks? Can he enter that category of Patrick Mahomes? Because right now, I don't believe he's in it. Am I wrong?
I think he's a top 5 quarterback. I don't think he's top 3. He's my winner though. He's my winner in this category. They were getting their butts whipped by a bunch of gosh darn nerds. No, by the Buffalo Bills, actually. It was crazy. They had 80 yards at halftime. He had been sacked a zillion times, like you said. And then, kind of like Dabo Sweeney said about Michael Jordan, that comment, he took over. The touchdown run, the 2-point conversion, the next drive where he's throwing the ball all over the place and running. And then in overtime, to, first of all, convert a 3rd and 18, which is crazy. That's all on the Bills, by the way. That was a check down to Duke Johnson. But secondly, it was way better than Eli Manning's escape, Dave. Way better. Eli Manning was kind of being grabbed. Deshaun Watson got smashed by a safety and a linebacker on both sides, and those guys bounced off him like pinballs. He's the pinball wizard. Deshaun Watson, the pinball wizard. And then to make the play he did, obviously the game winning play. Eli gets a lot of credit because it was a Super Bowl and because Tyree made the helmet catch off of it. Not the escape. I mean, the escape's impressive, but Deshaun Watson's escape, much more impressive. That team was getting embarrassed until he put them on his back. Deshaun Watson, the radio.com home and home Golden Globe for Best Actor from Wild Card Weekend, my friend.
Goes to you. Now again, I had Derrick Henry, and right now our followers, our listeners, our viewers all agree with me. At least the lead right now belongs to Derrick Henry for Best Actor in Wild Card Weekend. He gets the home and home, as according to the followers and listeners.